are. Um, Good evening, everyone. And I have to tell you that we are almost finished. The last day of class will be December 15th. That will be the last day because that's the final exam. Uh, so December 15th is the final exam day, which means that today is the 24th. We have like 3 weeks. So we'll finish in around 3 weeks. And so far we are in lesson 5, which is rising, falling intonation. We took the second exam, and I have to tell you that many people did good on the exam, but many people did bad in the exam for any reason whatsoever. Maybe you didn't study, maybe you had a hard time with the internet, maybe you have problems with your spouse, husband, or wife, and you know that those type of things affects us mentally, and that's how it is. But anyways, make sure that you study and that you pay attention to the last lessons that we are going to see. We are going to see lesson 6 and lesson 7. Those are the final ones. So there are no more because we are running out of time. And uh, within those lessons, we are going to learn how to mark the tones in a sentence. But before we even know or we even learn how we mark the tones, let's do a very short review of rising, falling intonation. And this question that I'm going to ask you is it will sound very strange, but what is rising, falling intonation? What does that mean? What is the meaning? Rising, falling intonation. We already know that intonation is the tone of what we say, right? It could be a high tone, a low tone, a normal tone, or an extra high tone. We know that already. But when we say rising, falling intonation, what do we mean is the question. What do we mean by rising, falling? It's raining here. I knew that was a difficult question for you, huh? Rising, falling. I don't know if you remember. Oh, Annabelle, go on.
So for me, I think that it means when we speak, we don't actually speak with the same tone.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
So if I say I'm going to the park,
uh-huh.
I speak with different tones between the words.
Okay.
That's
So
what I
you,
think.
well, okay, very good, very good. You are on the way, very good. So rising, falling. What is the meaning of rising? What is rising and what is falling? Rising, falling. What is that? Maybe you guys don't remember, but I'm going to show you one example of, no, not right now. Mm, yes, I should do it. I should do it. Hold on. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me see where it is. I'm going to try this. I know you cannot see what I'm doing right now. Just give me a moment. Just give me one moment. Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can draw something here, you know? Oh, hold on. No, that's not it. Let me see. Yes, here is. Okay. Right. Oh, I made it. So, okay, let me show you this. Hold on. Here we are. I know you can see that. I know you can. I can put it a little bit bigger so you can see it, right? Oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so here we are, right? You can see there in your board, I hate you. I hate you, right? And I marked the tones in there. We have 3 tones in there. Can anybody tell me that the 3 tones that we have there? What are the 3 tones that we have?
Me, teacher.
Yes, go on.
I think there are a normal tone,
Mm-hmm.
a high tone,
Yeah,
and long tone.
right. Where do you see the low tone? In what word?
You,
In you? Okay. Here we have the low, right? And where do you see the high tone?
hate.
Hate, okay, good. So here we have high, right? I'm just gonna put an H over there. You know what it is. And what about I? What is I then?
Normal tone.
Normal. I'm gonna put an N as normal. Okay, here we are, okay? There are many concepts. There are many things we can say from the exam and from the past lessons that we have given. Here, I can explain many things to you. So let's go one by one. We have 3 tones, right? You said we have 3 tones because you know how the tones are represented. That is one. How do you represent the tones? Anybody can answer that one. With what? How do you represent the tones? Let's see if anyone knows. That's a question from the exam. How do you represent the tones? How do you know that we have 3 tones in that sentence? Yes, Catherine?
By the way we pronounce the words.
Yes, but right now, yes, well, you can notice that when you pronounce it. But if you have it written like this right now over there, how is it that you know that there are three tones over there? When you see it written, how do you know? Is the question. If you're talking, you are a mute.
I think that is by the intention of what you want to say.
Uh-huh, right.
I
Okay.
think so.
One question for you. If I tell you in phonetics and I do this line, what does that line represent? See if you guys know.
The
What
glyph.
are you sure?
Teacher, I have it.
One. Yes, Maria.
That's the tone.
Teacher, you
That slide
mean
represents a tone.
Okay, that represents the tones. That is true. So how many lines, Maria, how many lines of those do you see here? How many?
I can see 3 lines.
3
Three
lines.
lines.
Very good. And that's right, we have 3 tones, right? And depending on the position of this horizontal, Okay, horizontal line, that one. Depending on the position, according to the word, you know if it is a high tone, if it is a normal tone, or if it is a low tone. How do you know? Very easy. If the line is just under the word, just right there, is the normal tone. Is the line is just on top of the word, is the high tone. And if the line is some distance from the word, below the word, of course, you see here, some distance, we have space, we have distance. So this distance means that this is the low tone. What is the difference between normal tone and low tone? The position of the line. In the normal one, you have it right next to the word below. In the low tone, we have a some distance below the word. That's the difference. So this is tones. The horizontal line represents the tones in English. Now, someone said glide over there. Someone is trying to talk. Go on. Yes, Eliani? Well, I guess Eliani is having problems with the audio. Okay. All right. We continue here. So tongues, horizontal line. What about this vertical line? What is it? What it represents? A vertical line. Okay. So you know what I'm doing? Let me go down here. Marlene Henao, are you there? Can you see this vertical line? What does that represent? Oh, Marlene, you having problems with the audio, huh? Berjaris, in for intonation? Are you sure? Go on, Maria.
No, no,
That
I know.
line represents the shift.
The shift, guys, listen. A vertical line represents a shift. Guys, it's very difficult for me to write with the mouse, you know? I don't have practice on that. But anyways, shift. Uh, teacher, see problemas internet. Yes, Marlon, don't worry. So, okay, so there we have the shift, there we have the tones. So when you have a line like this, what is it, what it represents? A curving line. What is that curving line? What is the name for that curving line? Okay, there we go, Chris.
But
Who was that? Sorry, I don't know who it is.
I'm sorry, Catherine.
Yes, Catherine, what is that?
I think it's a glide.
That's the glide. That is true.
Oh, finally.
Finally, you got it, huh? So you see, that's the glide. All right. Emmanuel, how many shifts do we have in the sentence? In I hate you, I hate you. How many shifts do you have in there?
Three, teacher.
Three, are you sure? You see this here? That's the shift. So how many of those lines do you see in I hate you? Oh, I see Haseli, are you there?
Two, teacher.
Two,
Sorry?
okay. Emmanuel says two. Very good, Emmanuel. Very good. We have two. One here and one here. Okay. So what is the function of the shifts? What is what they do? What is the function, if anybody knows? What is the function of the shift? What is it what they do? Is the question. Annabelle.
It changes the I mean, it shows us the tone when we change it.
Okay, very good, very good. So it shows us when there is a change from one tone to another tone, right? For example, here we are in normal tone. We have a shift. That means that the tone is going to change, whether it goes up or it goes down, right? If it goes up, is the high tone. If it goes down, is the low tone. Very good. Okay, now you know what rising, falling means? I told you that. I told you. Rising means, oh, hold on. Let me see who's writing. Oh, okay. Rising, falling means that in this type of intonation, okay, in this type of intonation, two things are going to happen. One, you are going to have a high tone, which is rising to go up, right? As you can see here, look at that. Look, look. We have hate, we have high tone. That is the rising intonation there. You see, rising here, this is rising. And here, what do we have? If rising is up, then down is what? What is down then? What is
Five.
Falling.
falling, right? So in
Falling.
falling in intonation, what happens is that the tone of the voice goes up, high tone, right? Going up, and then it goes down, which is low tone, as you can see here, right? So we need to know that we need to have that very clear. Rising, falling means that in that sentence, you're gonna have a high tone, and after the high tone, you're going to have low tone, from high to low, rising, falling. That's what it means. Now, why am I explaining this to you? Because in the platform, we already have the questionnaire for chapter 6. And chapter 6 is only about rising intonation. Only about this one. No rising, falling, huh? Only rising. So it's very important that we know in which sentence we have rising, falling, and in which sentence we have only rising intonation. And what we are doing here is I'm going to delete, I'm going to erase all these right now, okay? Because we are going to continue. Give me a second here. So here we go. Okay, in the meantime that I finish erasing here, I have a question for you. And the question is, in which type of sentences do you use rising, falling? In which type of sentences? Rising, falling. That's the question. Rising, falling, where? Right? Where? In which type of sentences do you use rising, falling? Because if we are going to learn a new type of intonation, when you see sentences, you are supposed to know which one is rising, falling. Adrian, go on.
When we are like, there's type of sentences where it's needed that we raise our voice and then lower it.
Yeah,
That is what I think. Like,
that is true. That is true. But there are sentences. The sentences have name. The sentence structure. Well, Marlon says in imperative. Okay. In imperative, imperative is a sentence structure, and imperative have another name. Do you remember the other name for imperative sentences? What is the other name for the imperative sentences? The synonym for imperative. What's the synonym? Oh, you don't remember? Do you remember the other class when you give an order that it is called a command? So commands are rising falling sentences. Do you remember any other? We have two more. We have two more. Two more. Whenever you say something that is not a question, how do you call that? How do you call a sentence that is not a question? There is a general name, there is a general term for this type of sentences that is imperative and is not a question. Guys, make sure you keep notes, take notes, because if you don't know this, you're gonna have problems in the final exam. We are giving like a review. Exclamatives, almost exclamative, almost there. Yes. These are, we call it, let me give you a second just to see if someone is raising hands. No, nobody? Okay, well, we call it statements.
Statement.
Now you got it, huh? Statements. So statements are sentences that are not a question and they're not commands, right? Statements can be negative, okay? Because I can say, I love you, which is a positive statement. And I can say, I don't love you, which is a negative statement, you know? But it's a statement anyways. Which are the type of questions that belong to the rising falling? Which are the type of questions that belong to rising falling intonation? You see, you need to study. You guys need to study. Remember, WH questions. Whenever you see a sentence that has a WH, I mean a question that starts with a WH word, it has rising falling intonation. You know, like questions like which, where, who, when, why, right? How also, because how has WH, although it's not one after the other like WH, but it has H at the beginning and W at the end. How, right? W is not at the beginning, but it is a WH anyways. So if you know this, if you know this already, that this is rising falling, right? If you know this already, you're supposed to know that uh, rising intonation, let's put it here, guys. This is part of the questionnaire, but I just want to give you the explanation now. So, okay, we have rising, falling. Rising, falling means to go up and to go down. Rising, go up, falling, go down. You use it for, hold on, let me move this. Hold on. So we use rising, falling in imperative sentences, commands, right? In statements and WH questions. So when do we use rising, falling intonation? In which sentences? Well, this is very easy. If you already know where to use rising, falling, you don't have to worry about rising because rising intonation is only used in questions that are not or that do not start. Hold on, that can be answered. Let me put it this way. Oh, this is moving, guys. Sorry. Hold on. Here is better. that can be answered with a yes or a no. Can you think of any question that you can answer with a yes or no? Can you think of any question?
Do you live here?
Do you live here? Yes, no. Who else? Anybody else can ask a question that you can answer yes or a no?
Are you hungry?
Are you hungry? Yes, no. Haseli, go on.
Do you want pizza?
Do you want pizza? Yes or no? Maria, go on.
Are you single?
Are you single? Yes or no? You see? Now, in these questions, I want you to think. I want you to think. These questions that you made right now, with what did you do it? Did you use WH or what did you use to create the question? Catherine, what did you
Me,
use?
teacher. I'm
Uh,
sorry.
The
don't
verb to
worry, you're
be.
gonna have your chance. Go on, Catherine.
The verb to be.
There?
The verb to be.
Okay.
The verb to be.
B. Okay, go on. Who said me before Catherine? Go on.
Yaceli.
Huh?
The auxiliary do.
Do. Okay. Okay. That's it? Only be and do?
And
Have you
cool.
have you forgotten? Have you forgotten about the other words? Listen to what I'm asking right now. Listen to me. Listen to me. Have you forgotten about the other words?
Have.
I'm
Oh,
asking.
Have.
teacher.
Had.
Okay, give me a second.
Had.
Someone is talking, but I don't see your hands. I don't see you.
I'm sorry.
I don't even know who's talking. So yeah. Someone said teacher there. I don't know who it is. Was it you, Alejandra, who said teacher?
No.
Oh, okay. So who said teacher? Go on. You can speak because Maria Isabel wants to speak. Noraima, yes.
We also can use cool and wool.
Wood and wood. Yes. Wood and wood as well. Uh, okay, now before we continue, because we're gonna make this video very long. So how do you call all these verbs? All these verbs are what? What are they? Haseli, what are they?
Auxiliaries.
Auxiliaries. They are auxiliaries, okay? So look at this. Of course, you can say, but teacher, the verb to be is not an auxiliary. And then I'm gonna tell you yes and no. Yes and no. When we talk about states, right? For example, I am crazy. I am crazy. To be crazy is not an action. Okay. I am Alberto. To be Alberto, I don't have to do anything because I am Alberto since I was born, which means that being Alberto is not an action, it's a state. So basically, the verb to be in this case, okay, in this case, is not actually an auxiliary 100%, but it's not an action. And that's why we use it with a rising falling intonation. That's one reason. And the other reason is that whenever you ask a question with to be, you can answer with a yes or no. Someone is writing. Hold on. Oh, Marlon, yes, that's true. That's what it is. Right, because for example, I don't know if you have seen people that don't know how to speak English. I mean, there are people who believe they speak English, okay? And when they find a person from, let's say, United States or England, and this person from England or United States start asking questions, for example, hey, do you live here? Yes. Is your name Alberto? Yes. Are you crazy? Yes. Where do you want to go? Yes. You see? So that yes doesn't go there at the end because it's a different question. When you ask a question with auxiliaries, you can answer with a yes or a no. When you ask a question with WH words, you cannot answer with a yes or no because you have to give information. And these are information request questions when you use the WH. But when you don't use the WH, those questions are yes
Teacher,
questions. Yes, Victoria,
teacher,
go on.
excuse me. I have an important question. For example,
Uh-huh.
eh, if I ask somebody, my cousin, for example, uh, you go with him, that's a question, right? But I
Uh-huh.
don't use the auxiliary do.
Yes, well, let me tell you what it is.
Uh-huh.
You are using colloquial English, broken English that we normally use it at home. Like it's like Spanish. But it's not correct because to ask a question, you need to use a question word, which is a WH, or you use an auxiliary. Because when you say you go with him, you know what you're doing? You creating a question in English as you created in Spanish. That's what we call, guys. I don't want to go there. That's what we call, this is a term that I'm going to give you. So you have to investigate interlanguage.
Got it, got it, got it.
Interlanguage is the language that you have between Spanish and English. There is something in the middle that when you speak English, your Spanish interferes, and certain habits that you have in Spanish, you transmit it to English. Although it's not correct, people understand it, and not everybody is gonna correct you. That's what happens. Did you get that?
Got it.
All right. Okay, so here we continue then. Guys, now you know how you can identify which sentence has rising falling intonation and which sentence has rising. And let me give you, I'm gonna say, oh no, I'm gonna write it. This is gonna be on the video, so you don't have to worry about this. Uh, okay, here we are. Let me give you, you don't have to give the answer so far. We are almost finished here because I just wanted to tell you the difference between rising, falling, and rising. I'm going to give you an example uh, after this little exercise. Well, I'm just gonna write 5 sentences here, and mentally, you're gonna decide if it is rising or rising, falling. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna do it like this: rising or rising, falling. Okay, sorry, I didn't put the hyphen there. Give me a second. Here we are. Okay, so let me put this a little bit bigger. There we are. So here we go with the number 1. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes for you to think about the 5 of them. And then, I mean, 2 minutes when I finish writing, of course. And then I'm just gonna give the opportunity to whoever raise hands, okay? So that's the first one. Number 2. Oh, sorry, that one is not the one that I, that's not the one. I was gonna say shut up, but I didn't want to put that one over there. Take your time. It's 5 sentences that I'm gonna write. Almost there. You see, here we are. We have 5 sentences here. You don't have to think a lot about it, okay? Well, you have to decide if it is rising or rising, falling, right? Now we're gonna see the hands. Let me see the hands. And okay, first we have Haseli. Haseli, you go to number 1. Then we have Maria Isabel, you go to the second. We have Catherine, you go to the number 3. And I don't know who else. Let's do these 3 and then we're gonna take 2 more. Go on, Haseli.
Rising, falling.
Okay, rising, falling. The question is why, Haseli? Why is rising, falling?
Because you say if the question if WH question is rising, falling.
Very good. Very good. Very nice. Then next is
Yes, so the second one is rising, falling, because it is an imperative sentence or commands.
very good. Very good. That's right. And we have the number 3, Catherine. What is it?
The rising intonation,
Uh-huh. Rising intonation. Why?
because you are using an auxiliary.
Is an auxiliary. Very good. And is a question also that can be answered with what?
Yes or no.
Yes or no question. Listen, it doesn't matter. You don't even have to look at if it has WH or not. If you ask yourself, you have to ask yourself the question. If you can answer with yes or no, is rising intonation. So that's another trick. That's another trick that we can use. Okay, let me see. Yeah, raise me. Shit. Shit. So raise me playing there saying shit. All right, Naraima, go on. You have number 4. What do you say?
Is right, rising intonation.
Rising intonation. Why?
Because it's a yes no question.
It's a yes, no question. Nobody cares if you have the verb to be over there because the verb to be is also rising intonation, but nobody cares about that. What you care is that you can say yes or no for the answer in that question. So we have the last one, which is number 5, and to Alejandra Payano, what do you say? Is this rising or rising fall in the number 5?
Uh,
You have
I
3
think it.
options. You have 3 options. Option 1, rising, falling. Option 2, rising. Option 3, I don't know.
I think it's rising, falling.
Rising, falling, very good. Why is the question? Because you cannot be guessing. You need to know why. It is rising, falling. The question is why? You don't know there, huh? Don't
No.
don't worry. So we're gonna get a miling. Amylin, why is the sentence number 5 a rising falling sentence? Amylin never listens to me. In every meeting, she's never there. Just her name, but nothing. Well, okay, then we continue. Many people raising hand. Raise me. What do you say?
because it's a statement.
Because it is a statement. Okay, a statement is a sentence that is not a question and is not a command. If it is not a question and is not a command, it's a statement in this case. Okay, there are many other cases, but we're talking specifically about this one in phonetics. I don't know who wrote. Someone was writing there. Oh, let me see. Hold on. Oh, okay, don't worry. Berjaris, that is fine. Okay, so you see this? Uh, I'm going to show you, I'm gonna take only two sentences for you to see the difference between rising intonation when we are marking the tones and the rising falling intonation. I'm going to keep, let me erase number 5. Let me erase, hold on here. I'm going to erase this one and I'm going to keep number, let me see which one should I keep, which one? Well, it's all the same anyway, so I'm gonna keep number 4. I'll keep number 4 and and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change this sentence because I don't want to get you confused. Okay? I'm gonna take that away and I'm gonna keep it like that. So let me mark the tones, okay? This is for next class, but just to let you know, when you mark the tones, you always start normal, okay? You always start with a normal tone. You don't need to think about that now, but I'm just telling you why I'm doing this, okay? I marked the tones on this one. Why did I do that? Because this is rising, falling. I know that in this sentence, I have to go up and I have to go down. Rising, which is the high tone, and falling, which is the low tone. All right. See that? Now check this. I'm going to mark the tones on this one, and you don't care about how I know where to mark because we're gonna learn that next week. Okay. Now check this. What is the difference between the first sentence and the second sentence? In the lines, what do you notice in the lines? What do you see? What do you see here? And what do you see here? Do you want to talk, Alejandra?
Yes.
Go on.
As I think is in the first question, the long
Mhm.
tone is el último.
Is there, right? You have the low
Right.
tone in the first sentence.
Yes.
And what
And
happens
the
in the other,
is the first.
right? Are you sure? Look at the difference between this tone, which is the normal,
Oh, normal tone. Okay, okay.
and this one, which is the low. Do you believe that this one is the low tone?
Sorry, it's normal tone.
Oh, okay. So that means that in this one, we don't have low tone. You know why we don't have low tone? Because this is rising intonation. And if it is rising intonation, the sentence has to finish with a high tone. That's what rising means. Because remember, here we said rising, rising, high tone, falling, low tone. And if it is rising only, then you should keep the high tone over there all the time.
Okay, okay.
Yes. And that's what it is. Next week, next week, we're going to explain how you mark the tones. Okay, you're gonna learn how we mark the tones. And you should know that this is a topic that comes for the final exam. Marking the tones is gonna be there 100%. So it's important that you pay attention to what I say next week. Of course, all classes are important, but this one you have to pay attention because we get confused very easily when we are marking the tones. The first thing that I'm going to tell you today is before you mark the tones, you need to know if the sentence is with rising, falling, or if the sentence is with rising intonation. Because if you don't know how to differentiate that, if you don't know how to separate that, then you're gonna be a mess. And that's very important. And that's it. That's it. Now this is question time. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you have complaints, you can let me know now before we leave. I believe that from this class today, yes, Bergeris, I will give you the chance. From today, we only have like 6 people in this class. We have Noraima, we have Raisme, we have Annabelle, we have Bergeris, Alejandra, we have Maria, we have Haseli, and there is a boy who was
Catherine. Catherine is
Catherine.
here.
Yeah,
What about me?
nobody's gonna forget about you. Yes, you there.
Ah,
And that's it.
teacher, where,
Yes.
when are the how can I say completivo? Extraordinario.
Ah,
That's the
yes.
extraordinary.
The chance exam.
We
Yes.
are ugly for the picture.
Listen,
Teacher,
I have to tell you one thing. Phonetics is the most difficult subject. There is no subject.
No, I just realized about it. Wow.
You guys,
I already noticed it.
many of you, because you speak English well, you believe that all subjects are the same. But now you encounter that we are not learning English anymore. We are learning about English. So it becomes difficult now. Anyways,
teacher, but you should give up an extra homework because the exam was very difficult.
yeah.
I agree with you.
We'll see what we will do on the way. We still have 3 more weeks. So the unexpected can happen, you know. But Joris, you have your hands up. Go on.
Yes, and teacher, in the part that we must identify the sentences falling and raising falling,
Uh-huh.
raising and raising falling. I am very confused because my internet is so bad and I can understand very well.
Well, what you have to do is you have to watch the video again, but I'm going to tell you very quick. Rising
Yes.
intonation is rising intonation
Oh,
only applies for the questions that can be answered with a yes or no. Let's let's do an exercise, you and I, right now. I'm going to ask questions to you. You're gonna tell me if they are rising or rising. Okay. I want you to answer me yes or no, okay, to the question that I'm gonna ask. But why did you put the mute, Joris? Are you listening to me? Okay,
yeah, I
okay, here,
listen.
here we go. Are you crazy?
Mm,
That's the question. Are you crazy? Answer yes or
Teacher, she's thinking about it.
no. Yeah, right. But
no,
you
teacher.
no, okay. Is that rising or rising falling?
Rising.
Rising, because you can answer with a yes or a no. Okay. Here we continue.
Okay.
Are you married?
No.
Okay, is that rising or rising falling?
The same's rising because
Okay,
you answer with yes or not.
okay. Did you get a 15 on the exam?
Um, no.
Yes or no? Is that rising or rising falling?
Um, rising.
Okay. Where do you live, Berjoris?
Santiago.
I want you to answer me with a yes or no. Can you? Can you? You can't, right? So that is rising, falling. The questions that you can answer with a yes
Rising, falling.
are rising, falling.
Okay. When you answer with yes or not, is rising.
Rising, yes. Now,
And
besides that, you need to know that rising, falling has more more sentences because in rising, falling, when you give an order, when you tell people what to do, like shut up, go home, eat,
okay.
quit, orders, that's rising, falling. And when you say statements like, I love you, I hate you, I don't like you, I don't go there, that's rising, falling too. So if you know that rising intonation is only questions that can be answered with yes or no, whatever else is rising, falling, you know? That's,
Okay, I
that's the
understand more now.
That's the easiest way for you to know which is rising and which is rising, falling. Rising, only questions that can be answered with a yes or a no. All the others are rising, falling, and that's it.
Okay. Ah,
Yes.
thank you, teacher. I understand now.
All right. I hope everybody heard what I said because that was a very quick explanation on how you can know which sentence is rising and which sentence has rising, falling intonation. And that's it. Any other question before we finished? We have 1 minute. Do you want to say something, Alexander Trejo
Sí,
Martinez?
profe. Ya la,
Oh, go on, Manuela.
profe,
Uh-huh.
ya usted colocó la asignación en la plataforma.
Yes, today,
Sí, la lección 6.
very
Gracias.
early. It is there, lesson 6.
Ok, gracias.
Manuela. All right. That's it. That's it. Make sure you have your dinner and go to bed early because tomorrow is gonna be another long day.
Bye
Okay,
bye.
teacher, thank you.
All right. See you then.